Do you often get frustrated at a goal or an improvement that you want to make in your life? You take massive action towards something for a certain amount of time and nothing happens. And from that, you get even more frustrated until you take a frustrated break for a considerable amount of time, only to come back to it later and having realized you lost all the momentum you gained before you took that frustrated break. If you're feeling bad, the issue isn't you or the goal that you want to achieve or that improvement that you want to make, but it is the approach that you're using in order to get that goal. Goals and improvements come as a product of small, consistent steps taken over time. And although you may get a lot done in a day of sporadic, massive action taken, if it's not done consistently, it's going to fall short. If it's done inconsistently, you might forget about it, you might give up, or you might lose the momentum that you've built up. This is why today we're going to be talking about another Japanese philosophy called Kaizen. Kaizen is broken up into two parts. Kai meaning change and Zen meaning good. Put those two together, it means good change, or if you change it into English, by still keeping with what the actual meaning of Kaizen means, it means continuous improvement. This is basically summed up by saying it's the philosophy of making small, continuous improvements every single day. Why is this important? It seems pretty obvious. If you want to improve in something, you're going to be taking consistent action towards it, and by practicing it, you will get better at it every single day. And yes, in a nutshell, it is that simple. The magic of Kaizen is that it puts emphasis on small, continuous growth over time. Where in our culture today of instant gratification and instant everything, we've lost that continuous effort towards something. So for example, if you want to learn something like programming, that seems like an incredibly daunting task given that it's a lot of time that you're going to have to invest into building that skill. We might want to speedrun the progress and do an entire Udemy course in 5 days, where Kaizen says focus on small continuous improvements. This juxtaposition of thinking can be related again to the old fable, the tortoise and the hare. This helps us in our thinking when we're looking at a big daunting task, for example, again, learning to program or writing a book, and thinking of the massive outset of work that's ahead of us. It may seem impossible or a massive challenge, but breaking it down into small tasks and small consistent action over time makes it more manageable for us. Kaizen is a way of life, and we all do it to some degree in some or other field or area of our life. To truly take advantage of this philosophy, we need to stop and ask ourselves, in which area of our lives would we benefit from using Kaizen? And where could we become better if we focus more on small, consistent action over time? In short, this philosophy rejects the notion of overnight success, which has been plaguing our society for many years, and puts more value and focus on slow, consistent growth over time, which allows us to take advantage of the momentum that we build. In order to take advantage of Kaizen, you first have to identify where it is that you want to apply this slow growth methodology. After you've identified your goals and your areas of improvement, you can't just leave it at that. Otherwise, there'll be no measurable way to see how far you've come or the improvements that you've actually made. While you have set goals, those goals themselves won't help you see and track your progress. And on those days when you lack motivation, which let's be honest is most days, knowing how far you've come will help you plug up the activation energy to keep going and moving forward. So in order to track your progress and progress as effective as possible, you need to create a system for yourself where you will define what it is you will do to get to your goals. If a system is the means by which you track your progress and see how far you're getting, goals are your guidelines and your goalpost for where you want to end up. So in short, goals equal direction and endpoint, system equals the steps you're taking to get there. So to make this easier, when you choose a goal, take it through the SMART acronym goal process. SMART is an acronym which can be broken down into 5 parts. S stands for specific. Is your goal easily specified and can you summarize it within a sentence? M stands for measurable. Can you measure and track the progress that you are making on this goal? This is why we build the system, so that we can measure the progress we're making. A, achievable or attainable. Is this goal something that you can actually achieve within a given time rate? For example, if your goal is to become the best thing in the world and your time frame is 1 year, that's probably not going to happen. R stands for relevant. Is it actually something that you want to achieve? Will this make you a better person? Does it fall in line with your values? Does it allow you to become the person that you want to be? And T stands for timely. Are you giving yourself enough time to achieve this goal? For this to work and for you not to be overwhelmed by your goals, you need to break each goal down into its smallest part. And from that, you can build a system around it to be able to make it work. For example, if your goal is to learn how to become a programmer, but you work full-time and you have a life outside of work, you first have to find a time that will work for you to actually learn it and stick to that and put that in your calendar, and then work everything around that. Your system will be the how, when and where you are planning to actually put the actionable steps in place to achieve your goal. Your system may look something like this. From Tuesday to Friday at 7 to 8 p.m, I will forego watching an episode of Netflix and study a Udemy course on programming. This is very basic, and obviously yours is going to be very different. This is just a small idea of a commitment that you can write yourself to get your system in place. When you use Kaizen effectively over time, you will start to build momentum. Now that you've defined your goals and you have a system in place, you need to, once every week, month, or however long you want to, have a self-check with yourself to see how are you progressing. Is there any way you can do this more effectively? What improvements can you make? Self-check and then repeat the process. This can be broken up into 4 parts. Plan, which we've already done by creating our goals and systems. Do, which we actually do the actionable steps and start putting our system in place. Check, where we check and see, is there something that we can improve in our system? Is there a better time that will work for us, etc. And then act, which is where we take all the changes we're making to our system and running with that. This system will continuously happen however often you plan on doing it. I'd say no more than once a month. Focusing on continuous growth and improvement over time instead of short sporadic bursts of action will eventually lead to a life of success and fulfillment. Side note, because this philosophy is based on small improvements over time, we often don't feel that sense of urgency, and thus people might tend not to take this very seriously, by perhaps subconsciously thinking to themselves, well, if it's small improvements over time, surely it's not going to be that bad if I skip or miss a few days and then come back again with massive amounts of effort to balance it out. The whole philosophy and system is based on creating habits that will improve over time and capitalize on the momentum you'll gain from doing small improvements every day. Like building a habit, there needs to be a form of discipline involved for you to actually see the rewards. So just because it seems very easy doesn't mean we shouldn't take this seriously. Similarly, if it was very complex, we probably wouldn't even take it up in the first place. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe. I'm going to start making more of these, hopefully once a week from now on. It's going to be more based on business and philosophy as well. Thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next one.